Marcus had seen many strange things in his 15 years operating a refueling station on the edge of frontier space, but the young Drakari woman collapsing outside his hangar was a first. She was massive, nearly 8 feet tall even on her knees, with iridescent scales that shimmered between deep purple and midnight blue. Her wings, torn and bleeding, dragged uselessly behind her. The Drakari were legendary warriors, apex predators from the volcanic world of Sindrath, and they never showed weakness. Yet here she was, gasping for air in the thin atmosphere. Her reptilian eyes glazed with exhaustion. Marcus didn't hesitate. He grabbed his emergency oxygen mask and the largest canteen of water he had, rushing out into the scorching heat of the desert planet's twin suns. "Easy now," he said, kneeling beside her. She flinched, claws extending instinctively, but she was too weak to fight. Marcus held up the water. "Just water. You're dehydrated." The Drakari woman, barely more than a juvenile by her species' standards, stared at him with suspicion. Her kind were raised to trust no one, to see every gesture as a potential trap, but thirst won over caution. She snatched the canteen and drank deeply, the water running down her scaled chin. Marcus retrieved more water, medical supplies, and a portable cooling unit. For 3 hours he tended to her wounds, asking nothing, expecting nothing. She never spoke, but her golden eyes tracked his every movement. When her strength returned enough to fly, she stood, towering over him. For a moment, Marcus wondered if this was where his kindness ended, with teeth around his throat. Instead, she placed a clawed hand over her heart in what he recognized as a Drakari salute of respect. "Marcus Chen," she said, her voice like grinding stone. "I am Isabella of the Sindrath brood. I will not forget this." Then she launched herself into the sky, wings beating powerfully despite their injuries, and disappeared into the orange horizon. Marcus thought that was the end of it. He was wrong. The next morning he woke to the sound of thunder. Except it wasn't thunder. It was the synchronized footfall of hundreds of warriors. Marcus stumbled out of his quarters to find his hangar completely surrounded. 378 Drakari warriors stood in perfect formation, their scales gleaming like polished armor in the morning light. They were fully armed with plasma lances, ion cannons, and molecular blades. Each one was a trained killer, part of the most feared military force in the known galaxy. Marcus's blood ran cold. Had he somehow offended Isabella? Was this retribution? Then the warriors parted, and Isabella walked through their ranks. She wore ceremonial armor now, inscribed with glowing runes that marked her as high-born. Behind her walked an even larger Drakari, his scales silver with age, a crown of obsidian horns marking him as a broodlord. "Marcus Chen," Isabella's voice rang out clearly. "You showed mercy to one of Sindrath's daughters when you had no obligation to do so. You asked for nothing in return. This is unusual." The old brood lord stepped forward. "I am Thorax, Isabella's father and commander of the Sindrath Legion. My daughter tells me you saved her life with simple water and kindness. Among my people, such a debt is sacred." Marcus swallowed hard. I just helped someone who needed it. That's what humans do." A ripple of confusion passed through the assembled warriors. The concept seemed foreign to them. Thorax's eyes narrowed. "Your species confuses me, human. You are small, fragile, short-lived. You have no scales, no claws, no fire in your belly, yet you survive in places where stronger species perish. You thrive where others merely exist. And you show kindness to strangers who could kill you without effort." He paused, then made a gesture. The warriors raised their weapons, not in threat, but in salute. "The Sindrath Legion owes you a life debt, Marcus Chen. We do not give such oaths lightly. From this day forward, you are under the protection of our brood. Any who threaten you, threaten us. Any who honor you, honor us." Marcus stood speechless as 378 of the galaxy's deadliest warriors pledged themselves to his protection. It was absurd. It was overwhelming. It was, somehow, the most human outcome possible, turning a simple act of kindness into an unbreakable alliance. Isabella approached, a rare smile on her fierce features. "You could have ignored me, left me to die, taken my possessions. These are what others would have done. But you chose differently. That is why we are here." "I don't understand," Marcus admitted. "It was just water." "No," Thorax corrected, his ancient voice carrying wisdom. "It was humanity. And that, we have learned, is worth more than all the weapons in the universe." The Brood Lord placed a massive clawed hand on Marcus's shoulder, gently, carefully, as one might handle something precious and fragile. "We have studied your species since this incident. You wage wars, yes, but you also run into fires to save strangers. You share food with enemies. You weep for the suffering of creatures not your own. You are chaos incarnate, irrational, unpredictable, beautifully insane, and perhaps that is why you will outlive us all." As the warriors dispersed to set up a permanent garrison around his station, Marcus realized his quiet life on the frontier was over. But watching Isabella and her father coordinate the defensive positions, seeing how a cup of water had forged bonds of steel, he couldn't help but smile. Humans weren't the strongest. They weren't the fastest or the longest lived, but they had something that kept them alive in a hostile universe. They cared when they didn't have to, and sometimes in a galaxy of predators and prey, that made all the difference. Marcus went back inside to make more water. He had a feeling he'd be having a lot more guests.